Today's part 2 of me talking about being competitive with a mental health condition. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, you can check it out up here. Hi guys, Dad's back again for part 2 of this 2-part series. I hope you're well. I make daily videos on mental health, personal development, and all the kind of crazy stuff that's going in my head to help you change your mind, change your life. So like yesterday, the question is, are you competitive with your mental health condition? Now you may be saying,
Daz, that's literally the same question as yesterday. Unsubscribe.
That's because it is, but this is part 2, as I said. Pay attention. No, not Gemma. In this second part, I want to talk about the other feelings that I have around the competition with mental health conditions, which are feelings of being a fraud, almost imposter syndrome.
No, sir, I didn't like it.
In part 1, I talked about that feeling of jealousy and competition about others' mental health conditions and how that made me sort of judgy and sort of comparing myself with them in a bad way, basically. Well, the imposter syndrome aspect or feeling of fraud is just another side of that.
It's probably not going to be great.
Because when I see others having a much worse situation or having maybe a much worse condition or dealing with a much worse problem, that natural comparison and my feeling of self-worth and things like that kick in again, but then makes me feel, well, if they're having that situation, which is clearly bad, and I'm not, therefore I'm some sort of fraud in this arena of mental health conditions, and a bit of an imposter really, because I'm not as bad as that, therefore I sort of don't belong here. But not from the fact of thinking, oh, I'm perfectly healthy and I'm fine, but almost that my condition is invalidated. It's not as bad, therefore why am I complaining? Why am I feeling so crappy? And yet I am feeling bad. So it's a real mind to be bluntly honest.
Okay, what?
Because on one hand I'm feeling down and really and crappy and just terrible, but on the other hand I'm seeing these other people who are dealing with much worse situations, and that makes me feel, well, no, I'm not part of that. I'm not as bad as them, therefore I'm not worthy of being almost in the club of mental health conditions. Again, ridiculous, as I said 50,000 times yesterday. And again, this makes no sense. This actually makes no sense. And so what happens is my thoughts feed my feelings, which feed my thoughts, and it just goes on in this downward spiral into just dark doom and gloom and horribleness.
Several months later.
Now let me know in the comments if you've ever had the same feeling where you think your condition isn't as bad as someone else's, because yeah, it's a tough one for me to deal with, so I'd love to hear from you if you've had the same. And I have another video on imposter syndrome which you can access up here, and if you want to see more videos and more content like this, don't forget to hit subscribe and like and comment, because that also lets me know that you like this type of content, so I can continue to make more So I can continue to make more videos for you.
Never ceases to amaze me.
So what a real mess, eh? It's just this whole mind thing of comparison and competition, and either they're too good or they're not good enough. It makes no sense at all. Again, I might as well say it, ridiculous. And I think it just shows how properly mental health conditions are, which again is probably the clues in the title. And if they weren't mental, they'd just be conditions, which then I'd have a condition which sounds slightly dodgy and probably warrants one of these. Classic Gemma. What seems obvious from this whole thing is just how easy my mind can just spin off on some huge tangent of ridiculousness into this comparison mindset and just going off and thinking
I'm better than them or I'm not as good as them.
And none of this is healthy at all. And what I need to do is really ambush these feelings, early on, to stop that spiraling out of control. And it kind of goes back to the whole video I did a couple of days ago where I was talking about being self-aware on a daily basis and looking at my thoughts and thinking, how am I thinking? Am I on a good track or a bad track? And then at least I can then rationalize those feelings and almost said ambush them and cut them off early, rather than then spiraling out of control and suddenly I'm now judging people and my condition is not as valid as someone else's and all that stupid stuff.
Let it go, let it go.
And that video you can get up here. So in summary, if you do have any feelings of comparison to other people when it comes to your mental health condition, whether that's some sort of jealousy or inadequacy, what you have to realise is that is almost another symptom of your condition, and it's important to isolate those feelings and look at those individually and go,
Okay, well there, let's stop. And why am I feeling like this? That's because it's not me thinking it's the condition.
and then deal with those feelings, because otherwise, as I said, they can spin out of control, and before you know it, like me, you're sort of judging people. You know, you're not as, your condition isn't as valid as theirs, or your condition's more valid than theirs, and that's just ridiculous.
It is.
That's it for part 2 of the series and today. Thanks so much for watching and subscribing and sharing and liking and commenting and all those other kind of YouTube type words. I really do appreciate it. If you want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe. That would mean a lot to me. And for now, I will say thanks for watching again, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye. Thanks again for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do so down here, and check out my other video down here. And remember, live your best life. See you next time. Bye-bye.